is now.
Teraz je pokoj.
Vrede is nu.
和平在现在。La paz es ahora.
Shalom עכשיו.
Kapayapaan ay ngayon. ขอให้มีแต่ความสงบสุข Most van a béke.
Friede ist jetzt.
和平在現在。
Pokój teraz tutaj.
今は平和です。
Good morning, everybody. Uh-oh. We got multiple people in the room. Do you want to mute the television for right now? That seems to be where it's coming from. Yeah, the source is yes. Okay, how's that? That's much better. Okay. There's only one of me, and we're only one. So let's try this again. Good morning. So good to see everybody this morning. I know it's a little hot today, but it's nice and cool in here. So I'm glad you've joined us for this service. And as we open up to this beautiful day today, I'm Reverend Jay Lang. And please welcome Bodhi Starwater for our opening music.
Do we have the words up there? Might. Boom. I'm listening to the one voice. And I am listening to my inner voice. I am listening to the voice of love. And I am listening to my inner voice. I am listening to the voice of love. Feeling my heartbeat, I am guided. Feeling my heartbeat, I am free. Feeling my heartbeat, I am guided. Feeling my heartbeat, I am free. I think you got it now. I am listening to my inner voice. I am listening to the voice of love. Sing it out. I am listening, to my inner voice. I am listening to the voice of love. Feeling my heartbeat. Feeling my heartbeat. I am guided. Feeling my heartbeat, I am free. Feeling my heartbeat, I am guided. Feeling my heartbeat, I am free. Oh, you got it now. Let's sing it out to the world. I am listening to my inner voice. I am listening to the voice of love. Yes, I hear you now. Just listening, to my inner voice. Feeling my heartbeat, I am guided. Feeling my heartbeat, I am free. Feeling my heartbeat, I am guided. Feeling my heartbeat, I am free. I am listening to my inner voice. I am listening to the voice of love. Feel it reverberating out.
Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you. Is my microphone on? Okay, just checking. It's so good to have you here today as we open up this service with our vision and mission statement. So if you'll look up on the screen, whether you're at home or here in person, and read with me. We are an inclusive community for spiritual practice and rational action. And our mission, we are co-creating a world that works for everyone by living intentionally, loving unconditionally, and seeing God in all people and all faiths. A glorious affirmation today for this wonderful community we have, that so many fun things that we're doing that are continuing to evolve this vision and mission. So thank you for being a part of that. Before we begin the sacred part of our service, I just have a few announcements. I see Karen back here. It was a great Crush MS we have. Let's give that another round of applause. We acknowledged all the volunteers last week, and people did come to service. I was impressed, but it was a long day, and what a great event. So thank you for hosting that and being a part of that. It was great. And I also wanted to let you know that last Sunday we installed 6 of our practitioners. And if you weren't able to be here, I just wanted to honor these 6 people. Michelle Wilson, Virginia, Sean, Dana, Don, and Shauna there. And let's just give them another round of applause. This coming Sunday, this coming week, is our Green Bag Sunday. And Janice Davis, who runs the program here, who's a liaison, it's actually a Napa Can Do project. I was surprised to hear her say last week that the food bank is really low right now, surprisingly low. And then when I really thought about it, there's a lot of people that are in need right now that we need to continue to keep a full and ample food bank. So we appreciate your efforts in doing that. If you're willing to participate if you already have a green bag, or if you need one, pick one up today. And you can take it to the grocery store and just fill it up as you do your regular shopping. And bring it back during the week or on Sunday, just by Sunday. We ask you to do it, so a week from this Sunday by the 13th, and I appreciate it. It's also my birthday that day, so how about give me a birthday present? And let's get 400 pounds of food in the door, okay? That would be my birthday present. No other gifts are needed. Let's fill up the lobby with green bags. So it'd be great to do that. Beg your pardon? Not this time, no. And then at the end of the month, I was going to tell you that, so I did warn you, the August 12th workshop did sell out, but we have more workshops. I'll talk about that more, but this one did sell out, and I'm so happy because I think it's going to be a wonderful workshop. At the end of the month, Gary Lynn Floyd is going to be here for the last of our unbottled concert series. It's a great way to just be outside, listen to great music, bring your picnic lunch, something to drink, and enjoy the community we have here, and invite friends. You know, we can accommodate several hundred people. So let's bring friends. It's a great thing. We're not trying to sell or save anything that night. So, you know, it's a safe place to bring them for this great music. And Gary Lynn Floyd is an amazing recording artist that's done so much work and in both the progressive Christian and New Age now. He's left out, but is doing work with us. So we're excited to have him here for a concert. And will be the music the next day as well on Sunday. And then I did say there were more things going on. So I think July and August have been kind of slow months. People have been on vacation and just doing different things. School's starting back. So we like to have classes. So I have a whole list of things here, and they were on your email. So on the 10th, we're going to have a Pizza and Participation Sunday. What that means is we're going to let you know of all volunteer opportunities to walk around and get a sense of where you could fit in on a volunteer basis here at the center, and free pizza for everybody, whether you sign up for anything or not. And then on the 12th, I'm starting a new series called This Life is Joy. It's going to be on 7 Tuesdays here, and I'm excited about that. And then on that should be Sunday the 17th, sorry. That should be after the services, we're going to have an art-based interactive vision workshop. If it's good weather, we're going to be outside. You know, we'll just do it. We'll set up tables out there. What? It says Saturday. I know, it should say Sunday. My bad on that. I just noticed that mistake too. And then Saturday the 23rd, we're having another workshop that has to do with body mindfulness, but it's going to be a little different. This one's going to be more towards healing, and 2 of our new practitioners, Dana and Don, are going to be leading it. And you notice that little RScP after it. That means they're officially a practitioner. Stands for Religious Science Practitioner, our roots there. And then at the end of this month, end of next month, September 30th, we're doing our annual donor appreciation event for everybody who's contributed, and we appreciate that, and we invite everybody, and it's just kind of a social gathering outside, not much of a program. Mainly it's just gathering and being grateful for all that you have done for the center. And then October 29th, we're going to have a sound healing with Bodhi. I know that's a ways away, but you definitely want to put that on your calendar. Bodhi and I have been looking for a date, and we finally found one the 5th Sunday in October, so we're looking forward to that. And a few other things going on. So both the healing workshop and my class, This Life is Joy, will start registration next week. I'm excited about this class. It's 7 spiritual principles to create a life of power and beauty. I think that the principles we have here at the center really establish a grounding. It's not a pie in the sky kind of thing, nor is it a guy in the sky kind of thing. So we know that we can establish these spiritual principles. We can work in our lives and create to be empowered and to have a life of joy and a life of peace and beauty in all ways. So excited about that, starting September 12th. Like I said, 7 Tuesdays there. It'll probably be 7 p.m. Oh, good question. Let me answer that by next week. I'll think about that. I'll probably do it online too, yes. I'd rather be in person. I think there's more. I think you get more out of it as you come in person. But, and then just know that we're here for you in prayer in all ways. It's our honor and privilege to pray for you, the practitioners and I. So you can fill out prayer requests in the lobby, online, or stay after the service and pray with a practitioner. All those are great. Just a brief affirmative prayer from me sets my day into an alignment with my good. So I encourage you to do the same. And now we begin the sacred part of our service.
Magnificent. Thank you. Psalm 69, verse 30. I will praise God's name in song and glorify him with thanksgiving. Thank you again, Bodhi. And we turn this morning in prayer, knowing that we are one with the all that is, and we glorify and give thanks for all that is, each to the other, each for the other. In reverence, humility, and gratitude, we bless our Center for Spiritual Living. We bless this service, today's music, today's message. For a moment, let's turn within and glorify with thanksgiving that lies most precious within our heart. If the only prayer we ever said is thank you, that would be enough. So, good morning. Today I want to introduce you to my family. I have 3 boys, and we all grew up together in Maryland. The eldest is John, and today is his birthday, and I doubt that he's watching, but I just want to say happy birthday, John. John's had the same job all of his life. Some days he likes it, some days he doesn't. And you have a slide, Jay, Reverend Jay? This is a 1948 Harley Panhead, just in case you didn't know. John restores old motorcycles. Doesn't ride on the road anymore. He's given that up. But he restores old motorcycles. He's out in his barn every chance he gets. He's got a passion for motorcycles. And, next one. This is son number 2. This is Ted. He also has a passion for bikes. About 5 years ago, he started long-distance biking, as in 60 to 100 miles a ride. He's had the same job also since college, but around Christmas time, he started working in a friend's bike shop. He leads stores. He's learning how to repair bikes. This is a passion of his, with a little bit of purpose thrown in. John has no purpose with his. He's just out there loving that bike. Ted's got a little bit of purpose. He's learning something. The youngest one is David. When he was little, like 5 years old, he used to beg me, "Hey, Mom, will you take me fishing? Will you take me fishing?" Beaver Creek was only about 5 miles away, and the kid fished every single opportunity he got. The week he graduated from high school, he went in the Navy. 4 years later, he says, "I'm going to college." Well, guess where? He'd never been there, didn't know a soul. The fly fishing capital of the United States. He enrolled himself at Montana State University in Bozeman. We've got there he is. Okay, 30 years today, later, David is a professional fly fishing guide in Montana. Passion, purpose. Purpose is an objective. Passion applies to a purpose in life. Purpose applies to passion, maybe. Passion is something just for the fun of it. I don't think you search for it. It's internal. It's about your emotions, your feelings. It's what you love. What you love for the fun of it, for the joy of it. Could be anything. My one sister-in-law loves knitting. That's her passion. But again, purpose is an objective, something we're striving for, a goal, a target. And when people are searching for something, it's usually their purpose. What do I do for a living? How do I contribute to the world and to others? How do I find meaning? Purpose is something you build, something you create. Both passion and purpose can change in your life, can evolve, can last a short while, can last a lifetime. If you want a beautiful, extraordinary story, spend an afternoon with Dandelion. There's Dandelion. You'll see passion and purpose, and how Dandelion finds her way. Don't want to fall over there. How Dandelion finds her way and has both. So, if you're seeking your purpose or your passion, the good news is that you've already got it, probably. They are already a part of you, and they're in your life right now. All you have to do is sit back, reflect, dream, ask, and keep on building. So, if you have read Dandelion, or do read it, anybody read Dandelion? Okay. Or do read it. I've got the red flag there. If you've read it, when you read it and you see me outside, tell me if you cried at the end. And if you're planning a fly fishing trip, just see me. I will recommend a good guide. Thank you.
Purpose and passion. I like that. Purpose and passion. Very nice. I remember when I was in high school, I was torn between music and the spiritual path. And a good friend of mine named Michael Stillwater, I don't know if you know Michael Stillwater, we went to high school together, and we had a little band in high school together. And he said, my name was Kip then. He said, Kip, you know, music is a spiritual path, so you can combine your purpose and your passion. Oh, well, I was about 16. I thought, okay, here we go. I'm on my way. I guess I'm still here. Sitting on a bench one day, I asked the Lord, teach me how to pray. And as I opened up my heart to Him, it came to me where to begin. Whoa, let me feel your love, Lord. Let me feel your love. Try that with me. Let me feel your love, Lord. Let me feel your love. And in those moments when I felt so close, I must own the consequence for the path that I chose. Time and time again I reach for the sky, only to remember truth lies inside. Oh, let me feel your love. Let me feel your love. Let me feel your love, Lord. Let me feel your love. breath at a time. My spirit soars, I accept my life. 'Cause loving me comes from loving you. And in this balance is the way to be true. Oh, let me feel your love, Lord. Sing it out. Let me feel your love. Ah, let me feel your love, Lord. Ah, let me feel your let me feel your love, Lord. Let me feel your love. Let me feel your love, Lord. Let me feel your love. You feel it?
Bodhi, your music is so sacred. People are going, do we clap? Are we supposed to clap? Do we clap? Thank you so much. I love it. So we are starting a new theme this month called Igniting Your Purpose and Your Passion. And the first thing I want to clear up a myth about it is it's not a passion, a purpose. It is your passions and your purposes. That it's sort of like saying there's only one love in your life. There's many loves in your life. There's many passions you have and many purposes. And what I find is when I am an enthusiasm and passionate and open to spirit, which I consider this passion too, this enthusiasm in me, I find greater meaning and joy and purpose in my life. It's a matter of opening up to it and being in that place. Being curious. I know growing up, people would ask, what do you want to be when you grow up? And we would say some random answer that maybe we thought about it a lot, or maybe we felt on the spot we had to answer it then. And rarely do we actually become that thing. Sometimes. It's interesting to hear your story about your kids' passions quite early in life. But what I know is that it's a continuing, evolving thing in us, that which is our purpose. And it has less to do with our job that we do and more about how we are in what we do and all things we do. So before I get too into that, I did want to come up with some humorous and thoughtful ways we can ignite our purpose and passion. So the first one is to keep the dream alive by pushing the snooze button. Keep the dream alive. Yeah. Takes a minute. I have to say it twice there. It turns out the answer to our problems wasn't at the bottom of a pint of ice cream, but the important thing is that we were seeking the solution. Spirit inspires us with passion and energy to work out our problems. Spirit also inspires us not to use that passion and energy to create more problems. If someone tries to tell you that nothing is impossible, prove them wrong. Sit around doing nothing in your meditation time. Nothing is possible, and we find many possible things in the nothingness. Improve your memory by doing unforgettable things. As Donna Markova would say, don't die an unlived life. Yogi Berra, the famous baseball manager, said, if there was a fork in the road, pick it up. Right? Don't waste your time there. And Mother Teresa, on a more sacred note, says, not all of us can do great things. We can all do small things with great love. And another one the rest of these are by Joseph Campbell, who is a personal hero of mine. And he said, if the path before you is clear, you're probably on someone else's path. And a corollary to that I heard, that's not Joseph Campbell, but when everything's coming your way, you're in the wrong lane and going the wrong way. Joseph Campbell also said, life is not a problem to be solved, but a mystery to be lived. Follow the path that is no path. Follow your bliss. We've often heard that. We've often heard that from Joseph Campbell. And finally, from Joseph Campbell also, we must let go of the life we have planned so as to accept the one that is waiting for us. If you're on the right path, you'll find that invisible hands are helping you and guiding you along the way. And that's what I know. I know this. There is, we don't believe in a guy in the sky who's giving us things to figure out our purpose, but we are attracting the experiences and the people and enlivening ourselves with our passions. And that's today's talk message is about awakening our passion. And we awaken our passions. And I love this particular slide because this was from a concert in June that we had, and people are up dancing. And not only is dancing an expression of our passion, but what I find is before people start dancing, there has to be at least one person get up and dancing. At least one person. And they may be up there by themselves for a while, but then finally one other person joins them, and then everybody comes in. So be willing to be that one person that is not on a path that most people choose, to follow your bliss, your way, and know that when you are in the right place, there is peace. There's a sense of rightness. There's a sense of spiritual revelation coming in you. Like I said, I don't believe necessarily in a God up above us that directs us, but I do believe we do attract certain things in our lives that bring or accentuate or activate passions. And that leads us towards meaning and purpose. And these seeds of purpose that are moments of insight that we can create. We are all born with a certain passion, a certain uniqueness that we bring to this life. That's just who we are. Now, this whole idea of following your bliss sometimes is mistaken in some ways. You've heard probably the phrase, follow your bliss and the money will follow. That's not always true. A friend of mine who's an entrepreneur said, yeah, I followed my bliss and the money followed when I worked like heck for like 5 years to get it going. So we know that sometimes we're called to let go of the life or a job or something and do it endeavor. And it may not happen right away that it's prosperous, but it will come in time. It will create. It will allow this sense of meaning and purpose primarily, though. This joy that's in it, a sense of peace. I know I work some menial jobs to start with. I'm sure probably many of you have done it. With the kind of job where you're just looking at the clock for when your shift's going to end. And some in hot and, undesirable places. But in that, I activated my passions and my intentions about what I did want to create in my life. I'm not saying that we necessarily attract certain undesirable things in our lives, in our childhood of perhaps abuse or neglect or aloneness that we might have had, abandonment. But I'm saying out of that, Spirit is there with us and creates this beauty and this love that can flow out of that, this good that guides us, that we continue to be. And it's important as we continue to self-discover, because there's no, like I said, there's no one purpose. There are many purposes, many meaning. We continue to create that and continue to stay active in seeking that. And what we want to do is we love what we do. We love what we do. And the important thing is about, I'm not saying it's that you do what you love or everything you do you will love. I'm saying what you are doing, what you're being, you can find love there and love within it. Steve Jobs said that the only way you can do great work is to love what you do, to accept what is and find the love that's there. As Mother Teresa says, to do all things with great love. because we can always find the joy and the gratitude, the peace and the presence. The word passion actually comes from the Greek, meaning intense emotions. And a lot of people assume suffering is the ultimate intense emotion, but there are so many other intense emotions you can have: joy and gratitude and love. But people in more traditional Christian faiths talk about the passion of Christ, talking about the suffering in his death he had. But I'm more interested in the passion that was in his life. That he said to love our neighbors as ourselves, to love God with all our heart, strength, body, and soul, all aspects of us, love. He lived in community with what we think are probably the Essenes, and this was an ancient way to be separate from the normal crowds and to be contemplative life. And there he found this freedom and his inner passion that he taught about so much. We also know that Buddha had passions, that he lived, if you don't know his life, he lived a very comfortable life. He was the son of a wealthy person, I think royalty of some sort. I don't know the full story there, but I do know that he could have lived his life in comfort. But he got a glimpse of life outside of the walls where he lived, and he saw people who were in poverty, who didn't have enough to eat, who were sick. And he was drawn towards finding ways to alleviate suffering in the world, so he left the confines, his comfort, and experienced suffering. He experienced hunger. He was with people who were ill. He lived a very simple life. But in that he found the path in contemplation, a way of freedom from this suffering, of non-attachment, of accepting what is, of finding the love right where we are. And the power of this is that the practitioners we have, the way that, or if you take regular classes here, the way we're taught the affirmative prayer, what we say is the more feeling we have in it, the more powerful our prayers are. Because it's this passion, clarity, not passion towards attachment, but passion towards our intention, passion towards, Bodhi's song today, Lord, let me feel your love. That's a passion that the Hindus have that invite God in. Let me feel your love. Let me feel this. Let me know this truth is evident, and I know it creates, and I know it's powerful in our lives. So there's definitely place for this passion. As Orion Mountain Dreamer said, let ourselves be one of the God-mad, faithful only to the beauty we are, and let the universe pull us up to our feet and invite us to dance even when fear urges us to sit this one out. This aliveness, this full. And I want to make sure we, whatever we do, whatever we're retired or do a certain job, whatever it is, we can find passion and love and meaning in it. Even if you're a sanitation director, picking up trash. And I'll tell you why I bring that up, because I don't want to forget Lorenzo Bertarelli. We always called him the church guy here. Lorenzo was passed away now, was married to Diane. But he was, coming out of college, he was trained as an engineer, but he had a passion for recycling and doing something with all the trash we had, and doing something that was constructive, a way of not just damaging the environment. So when he came out, he first of all worked for the state of California to find ways to protect water and land. And then he began to work for a private sanitation company. And he was passionate about recycling. So he began programs to recycle compost, building materials, glass and aluminum, obviously, just lots of things that we now assume we're all filling up those little green things and putting them in our compost bins. Well, Lorenzo was one of the people that started it. And then when he was working with what's called the Richmond landfill, when they had been an active landfill for 30 years or 40 years, and they were going to close it up. It was, quote, full. So he engineered a way to make sure that the toxic elements of it wouldn't leach out. He put a cover over it. He was able to put in systems that capture the methane. We know methane's bad for the environment, right? He able to capture it and turn it into energy that PG&E can capture and use it, and the methane doesn't go out. And this is what it looks like now, the landfill. He created a walking trail around it, a 3-mile walking trail that went right by San Pablo Bay and marshlands, and it's a beautiful place. So his passion for trash and recycling created beauty, created protection for our environment. It's so important to do this that we can open up in this way. We can awaken our passion. Mark Nepo says that there are certain spots of grace, that we are each born with certain unencumbered spots. And I believe we can awaken our passion if we're open to these spots of grace, he calls, free of expectation and regret, free of ambition and embarrassment, free of fear and worry. There's these moments, spots of grace where we're touched by God. It is in this spot of grace, he says, that issues peace. So we can all think about moments in our lives, Malcolm Gladwell called them tipping points, that just were ahas, and they were a moment of pause. They were a moment almost like the rest of the world wasn't there. And it informed something about our lives. It gave us insight about our passions or meaning or a way of living that gave us that. And it's important to know that although some of those may come when we're very young, they are continuing to have spots of grace in our life. Grace is a word that has a lot of different definitions, but mainly when I talk about that, it's a moment where God is guiding you and you feel very connected to God, and there's no conditions around that affect it. It's just this moment. So I know for myself, when I was 12, I was at a church camp, and this youth pastor really listened to me. And I grew up in a family where people didn't listen to each other. We just talked on the surface. And it profoundly affected me of how powerful just being listened to. At 13, I decided I didn't want to play football anymore, and I became curious about speech. And my dad was a football player in college, so I thought when I told him, I was sure he was going to be upset at me. I assumed that's what he wanted me to be, was a football player. And he goes, "Oh, you don't want to do that anymore? What do you want to do?" I mean, what a graceful answer. And I became curious about speech. In that moment, I just thought about, and I later debated, and I still love public speaking to this day. And 17, I had an inspirational teachers in arts and humanities. So all those little spots of grace led me into counseling, teaching, and ministry. And I think we can look back and see those things. And I'd love after this service, if you can think of any spots of grace you might have had in your life, I'd love to hear what those are for you. Parker Palmer said that before you tell your life what you intend to do, listen for what it intends to do with you. Listen to Spirit, what it intends to do with you, through you, as you. Don't let what you think, what you're planning, get in the way of what is the highest and best. What is the meaning, a synchronicity that happens that calls you into this. So just allow these things to unfold in your life. Allow this purpose to unfold. This is Peggy Usak, and she is a surfer and skateboarder, an amazing person that she talks about unfolding her life, but her purpose in meeting, actually, her higher purpose came from folding whales, believe it or not, these little origami whales. So she's an interesting person in that she was part of, and this is, I don't know if anybody know this, but I was aware of it, the Z Boys, which was a skateboarding club. They made a movie about them, and she was the only woman, the only girl in this organization, but it became a famous way of skating that they would break into empty swimming pool, properties and schools, and they began this horizontal skateboarding that was revolutionary at the time. But this was all based on her other love, her other passion, which was surfing. This is her also surfing, an amazing surfer, and was known for this and loved that. If you know anything about surfing, though, probably 80% of the time, you're just out in the water waiting for the right wave, right? And at the time all this happened, she also was studying in college marine biology and animal life and different things like that. She became fascinated by whales and dolphins. And she would often see them when she was out in the stillness of the water waiting for that. And she just had this image and connection with whales at that time. And so she began to experiment with art. And she painted this painting that had the eye of a whale. And people would see it and be amazed by it and feel connected to whales, feel connected to her. And she felt some meaning. And then one day she was out in the water waiting for a wave, when a gray whale popped up and just their eye was showing and looked at her. Now, I don't know about you, but I know that's unusual, first of all. And only from just a few yards away, like from here to the lobby from me, just really close to her. And anybody she told this story to said that doesn't happen. And I'm just thinking the universe, she had this connection with the whales and the eye shows up. And she began to just have this sacred relationship with whales. She knew that time in 1986, I think it was, there was a moratorium on killing whales. But then so she assumed they were safe, but she found out that over 1,800 whales were still being killed every year despite the moratorium. So she trying to figure out what she could do, so she began to, she heard about Japan that was going to do a shipping expedition up to Antarctica to kill 50 whales. And she also knew that year 1,040 whales were planned to be killed, so she decided to start folding these origami whales. And she started children in a camp folding them. People from around the world began folding them. And she got the 1,040, but she didn't know what to do with them, how to display them. And she finally figured out a moment of clarity to create a curtain out of them, to hang them. And so this was a beginning of an awareness, and yet the whales were slowed down the number killed each year, but they were still happening. So she began to recognize the number of whales that had been killed, and she began to fold more and more whales to represent the number of whales that had been killed. She went up to 30,000 whales, and here's an exhibit she had in Hawaii that is a wall of these whales. And as people went through that, they didn't realize what they were watching, but this represents all the whales that were killed. And it began to expand every year. She'd add 1,000 or 2,000 more. And people would be touched by this. And the awareness of it, the consciousness of it, protect whales. Now the good news is, I guess the bad news first about that, there are still some whales being killed. Up to 1,000 a year. Certain countries have exceptions to the moratorium. And the number of whales are increasing worldwide. All kinds of whale. Who didn't turn off their phone? I thought it was me. Oh, was it somebody else? I thought it was my phone. But it's so important to recognize that in this consciousness, what she did, the meaning and purpose, that her passions did make a difference. Even just in the Indian Ocean, the gray whales there, humpback whales, have gone since the moratorium, have gone from 600 to 36,000. So we're talking major increases in whales because they're protected. And then we continue, and I think her passions lead this. And she talked about the passion that led to the Berlin Wall falling, to increases in certain awareness about races and cultures and orientations that happened. I mean, you think about the Marriage Equality Act that happened. We thought that would never happen, and suddenly it was just a tipping point that it happened. And these continued in consciousness, we know that when things reach a tipping point, that they do shift, so we continue to do our work in that way. She was doing a camp in New Zealand, and there was this girl, Ayla, who's just 12 years old, and she was asking Peggy for the Peggy Oki for advice on her life. And Peggy told her, follow your heart with vision and action, create your own fold, and you will find your porpoise in life. Ha, 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 ha. But we could all find our porpoise in life. And probably the biggest inspiration I have that I read about 30 years ago was from Donna Markova. Donna Markova had a life-threatening illness. But she was still passionate about life, and she didn't want to give up life just yet. So she used that desire to live more fully while she was alive to energize and open her up. And she wrote this poem that really she lived by, and I continue to live by too. I will not die an unlived life. I will not live in fear of falling or catching fire. I will not inhabit my days to allow my living to open me up. There's something in there. What? I choose to inhabit my days to allow my living to open up, to make me less afraid, more accessible, to loosen my heart until it becomes a wing, a torch, a promise. I choose to risk my significance, to live so that which came to me as a seed goes on to next as blossom. That which came to me as blossom goes on to fruit. And this is that evolution of the seeds we plant, the passions we have that continue to inform us no matter where we are in life. We can find meaning. We can find aliveness. We can find passion, and we can find our porpoise in life, right? And our purpose. That I know this is continuing to evolve. Let us go to prayer. Oh, in this moment, what I know is that the universe is good. That we are connected to this universe, and we are connected to this good wherever we are, whatever challenges we may face right now. There is that good, and there's this greatness, and there's this power within us that allows us to be present with what is, allows us to create from this moment, allows us to find our passion and our purpose and our love that is in all things. For this, we're so grateful. We know that Spirit continue to align in us and be within us and create within us. And for this, we are so grateful as we release this word into the law, knowing it is so. And so it is.
So inspiring. Love it. Do what you love and the money will follow. That's what I remember that when I was really young, that book. And money's been following me for a long time. I'm going to start asking it to walk side by side with me. This is about following your purpose. Follow the call. Oh, when darkness comes over you and the struggle has blocked your view and all your people are far away and your life feels like a masquerade. You got to follow. You got to follow the call. You got to follow. You got to follow the call. And every answer is usually hidden inside a question, often forbidden. Seek direction from the wind. Trust your nature. Look within. You got to follow. You got to follow the call. You got to follow. You got to follow the call. You got to follow. You got to follow the call. You got to follow. Follow. When darkness comes over you and the struggle has blocked your view, seek direction from the wind. Trust your nature and look within. You got to follow. You got to follow the call. You got to follow.
Beautiful, Bodhi. Thank you, thank you, thank you. This time in our service, we invite you to participate in the law of circulation. If we could have our ushers come forward, please. This is your opportunity to know that that which you give is also what you receive, that which you know in consciousness and your abundance, and what you're willing to do to support our vision and mission. We so appreciate. I also know that that when you do that, it opens you up to greater things in your life. We have many ways for you to give, either online, through texting, or through checks or contributions. We know some of you give online or have given already. So please just take your hand over your heart, what you're giving today, or in mind what you've given in the past, and know the affirmation with me. If you could advance the slide there. I don't have my clicker here. Divine love as me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have and all that I circulate, and so it is.
Love is something if you give it away, give it away, give it away. Love is something if you give it away, you'll end up having more. It's just like a magic penny, hold it close and you won't have any. Lend it, spend it and give it away, they'll be rolling all over the floor. 'Cause love is something if you give it away, give it away, give it away. Love is something if you give it away, you'll end up having more. Malvina Reynolds, the singing grandmother. Who remembers Malvina? One person? Oh, Malvina. She's the one that wrote a lot of songs. Pete Seeger sang "Little Boxes on a Hillside" and "Magic Penny," and she started singing when she was already a grandmother.
So we are grateful for you being here today. If this happens to be your first time, we welcome you especially. If you're willing to raise your hand, we have a gift for you. Anybody here for the first time? All right, well, if we happen to miss you, please go to the welcome table. Or if we missed you in the past, we offer former Science of Mind magazines for you to read and get to know us better, as well as life itself, that you can join us in. If you join us for coffee, we have iced coffee out there on this hot day, and hot coffee and snacks, so join us for that. And we have a special blessing for all of us today that are here. So we raise our hand and we say, we bless you today, knowing that the peace and happiness you seek is also seeking you. We honor your inner radiance as you let your light shine in the world. We are grateful for your presence in our community, and so it is. So I'll be out there today, and perhaps you could share with me your God spots, your spots of graces. So I'd be open to hearing about those tipping points in your life. And we also invite practitioners to come up, and they'll be with you after the service for prayer. If you stay, if you have conversation, just go on out into the courtyard there, and let's keep this as a sacred place right after the service. So let's all stand for the congregational affirmation. Repeat after me. Something wonderful is happening through me right now.
Something wonderful is happening through me right now.
I'm guided by Spirit.
I'm guided by Spirit.
I am led by wisdom.
I'm led by wisdom.
I am protected by love.
I'm protected by love.
I am here to be a blessing.
I'm here to be a blessing.
I am so grateful.
I am so grateful.
And so it is.
And so it is.
And now our closing song.
Love be with you, peace uphold you, and spirit lift you. Breathe it in, and truth come through you. Make it flow to you. Let joy renew you till we meet again. Love be with you.
Form a big circle.
Love be with you. Big circle.
And let's just sing the chorus to each other. With you. Be with you. Love be with you. Love be with you. Love be with you. Love be with you. is.
Yeah,